introduce you to Gina Song. Yay!
Hi.
Gina, good morning. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Oh, awesome. You look terrific. Now, you guys, because Gina is live with us here today, please do what Johnny just did and engage us. Say hello to Gina. And if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, she is here for you. Johnny says hello to you, Gina.
Hi, you said Johnny?
Yes, Johnny Kong.
Hi, Johnny. How are you?
So Gina said hi to you, Johnny. So you guys, like I said, we woke Gina up super early to be here. So
Yeah, I'm half asleep, but I'm here with you. I'm here.
she's here. And like I said, you guys, she's an actress here in Hollywood. So Gina, let's just go all the way back to the beginning. How did you get your start in the entertainment industry? And are you originally from here?
I was born in Chicago, Illinois, so no, I'm not from here. But how I started was how I got the bug, the acting bug, as they call it. I was painfully shy. I don't know if you know this about me, Candace. You and I are friends for a while. But I was painfully shy when I was young, and I had a teacher in first and second grade that put plays on throughout the whole entire year. So we did all these plays, and it gave me this permission to be a character and not be myself and be outspoken and be outgoing. And so the bug bit me and I loved it. And it was almost therapeutic in a sense. I mean, I didn't know that at the time, but it was like so amazing just to like embody these different characters and like put the shy Gina away and gave me just permission to act. And then I moved to Los Angeles and here I am.
That's crazy. Now, Anthony, thank you so much, Anthony. Okay, Anthony put in big, bold letters to you, "This Marine salutes you."
Oh, thank you, Anthony.
Oh, Anthony, thank you so much. Gina's going to shoot a salute you back. And are you stationed anywhere, Anthony? Let us know. Where are you right now? That's so awesome. That's so wonderful. I love the military. So now, Gina, this brings a good question up. Do you consider yourself, because I know a lot of actors and actresses consider themselves introverts at heart. Are you an introvert or an extrovert? Because I don't normally see you as an introvert at all.
I think that I am an introvert at heart. Yes. I mean, you wouldn't know because I've learned as I've gotten older, learned to shed that shy side of me. And I think through acting, it's just given me that permission to like be that character and realize that nothing scary is going to happen when I'm some outspoken character. But innately, I am a shy person. Yeah.
That,
sure.
Oh my, Anthony says he's in the sand right now. What does that mean? That is so surprising to me because I always see you as this outgoing, bubbly person. Who do you feel like you get cast more as? Like, where do you think your niche is as an actress?
I feel like, what you mean, like what types of characters are you asking me?
Right, because I always see you as so bubbly, so outgoing, and so friendly that I feel like what does that translate onto the characters and roles that you get typically?
Yes, I definitely, yes, something happens in me when I become a character where literally the shy side of me it goes somewhere and it gives me permission to just be the character. And it's so funny because I'll stop being the character, I'll stop acting, or you know, if I'm on a TV show, I'll stop the character, and the shy side of me eventually does come back. But as far as when I'm the character, it kind of takes over and the shy side of me kind of dissipates, and it's amazing.
That's crazy. I also see you doing quirky comedy. Are you more of a comedian than you are a dramatic actress? Like, what do you feel like you get cast as more?
It's so interesting because you're in the entertainment industry as well. I have so many actor friends that are terrified of comedy, and they love dramatic scenes. And for me, I'm like the opposite. I love comedy. Love it. Like it does something where it gets me like excited when I'm doing comedy. So I prefer comedy for sure.
That's so funny. So wait. So what made you, like you just mentioned the acting bug. And I think that's really important because so many people out here call it that because it is. It just takes over your life. You stop whatever you're doing. How did you end up having the gumption? Because it takes a lot to come from Chicago to here? Like, how did you do it? Did you come with a friend, or did you say, you know
Well,
what, I'm just going to go out there and try?
so okay, let me back up a little. I
Okay,
was born
okay.
in Chicago. My family moved to California when I was 8. So,
Oh, okay, I
but it
didn't
was
know that.
yeah, we were in Northern California, so it's not that far from where we are. After high school, though, I did say to my parents, yes, I'm moving to Los Angeles. I have to go after my dreams. It's time. And my parents were like, please stay home and go to college. And it became this whole negotiation thing where I was like, no, I need to move to LA. This is my calling. And they were like, just go to college and afterwards you can do whatever you want. So I went to college. I went to UC Davis and then I graduated. And literally a month after I graduated, I moved to Los Angeles. And it's so funny.
What?
Yeah. People are like, you moved without even knowing anyone. I really didn't know anyone. I had a couple friends that went to UCLA, but I came out here and everyone's like, wow, you just did it. And I was like, oh, is that a thing? I just knew I had it in me that I had to do it, and I didn't think twice about it.
What did you major in theater when you were in school? Because like you fulfilled your parents' request that you went to school.
Right. I did not. I took a lot of theater classes, but my goal was to graduate as quickly as I could, and I majored in sociology with an emphasis in law, and I minored in
What?
communication. Yeah. So, and somehow my path brought me here, and I love it.
So wait, did you have typical Asian parents that wanted you to be a professional, and were they thinking you had just gone bonkers when you said, oh, by the way, I got this great degree and I'm going to go pursue acting. I'm going to go pursue this thing that's almost like I'm going to be an artist or a poet.
100%, even to this day, which it's been, a year or two since I graduated college. And my parents, right, just a couple of years, my parents are still like, so when you're ready to go to law school? And I'm like, wait a minute, I think that's not going to be happening anytime soon. So yeah, they don't really understand it. I think they realize they can't pull me out of it. And what's hilarious is that I think I used that negotiation skill where I was like, you told me if I went to college, I could go after my dream. We can't say anything about that.
Oh no, they're probably like, what did we do wrong?
No, why did we do this? Yeah, so.
So wait, so do you have other siblings? And so did they think that you were the rogue child?
100%, yes. They're all still in the Bay Area. They all live kind of near home. They all have very, very, what's the word? Like 9-to-5s. They all have 9-to-5s. And they, they're starting to understand it, but as you know, if you're not in the industry, it's like, I use the term acting bug because I know people use that term, but I don't generally use that term. But I know, a lot of people are like, oh, you got bit by the bug. And I'm like, sure.
Absolutely, because I always wonder how people end up here because like it takes a lot of guts. Like you said, you really didn't know anybody. You knew a couple of people at UCLA, but you just came out here. How did you survive as an actor and coming down here when you literally knew no one? Because I can tell you a litany of crazy jobs that I did.
Right.
What are some of the craziest jobs that you had to do to be able to survive while you're pounding the pavement auditioning?
So long story short, I started temping. I came from a marketing background. I had an internship in college where I was doing marketing, and I started temping. I got a job at a architecture interior design firm, and I told them, because this is what you learn in college, I will take this job as long as there's room for growth. So I worked there for about a year and was miserable just because I knew that my calling was to act. And I also realized if I'm going to be far away from my family and doing a corporate job, then I might as well move back up north to be with my family.
Absolutely, yeah, because otherwise why are you doing it?
Yeah, and so when this company was ready to move me into a higher position and promote me, I was like, giving my 2 weeks notice. And I just I had saved up money at that point, and I started doing the most random job. I did a lot of extra work in the beginning because I just did not even know where to start. I didn't even know how to get an agent. And I just kind of found my way, and I've done a handful of projects, one with you.
I know. Well, what was your first project that you got? Oh, and Bosch Khan, thank you so much for following. Thank you so much for following us. And if you'd like to wish Gina hello, please do. And so what was your first real job in the industry?
excluding extra work
Yes.
because I did a ton of that in the beginning. My first job was a show that Michael Mann was directing and producing. It was called RHD LA, Robbery Homicide Division, with Tom Sizemore.
Oh, sure, sure.
Yeah. I think it was a pretty short-lived show, but that was my very first like official gig, and I was like, oh my goodness, I made it. I had heard of Michael Mann, but I didn't know like the impact of how powerful he actually is in the industry. And I was just like, yeah, it's a Michael Mann show, and everyone would be like, what? And I was like, oh, is that a good thing? Like I was just like stumbling my way through, and yeah, it's all been such great learning experiences, though. You know?
Well, I always feel like, and tell me if you think this is the way you feel, I learn more in this business from my failures than I do when I succeed. Is that true for you? I mean, overwhelmingly for me.
100%. I think that when it's so easy when things are going well, just to almost like not be in the moment and just be like, yeah, of course we're booking this. I got this job. But when you're failing, it's takes a lot to kind of look inward and just be like, okay, what could I have done differently? And I think there's a fine line between being hard on yourself and actually looking at your actions and being like, what could I have done better so that the next time this opportunity presents itself, I'll be able to step up and not fail and actually.
I totally agree, because for those of you who are watching right now that are in the industry, I always say for every audition that I didn't get, I look and see what I could have done better. It's not that I did something wrong, but it's like, I see it now, you know. And then if I know the person that did get it, sometimes they're just honestly better for the role, so many times. But then other times it's like, I see where I could have tweaked it. And I think, do you feel like because I feel like this, I feel like my competition always makes me better.
It does. You know, it's interesting because I also feel like there is that fine line of being too competitive. Like, I'll look at people that was better for the role, for the same role that we've gone out for, and vice versa. I've booked roles where people are like, I can see why they booked you, you know, when we've gone out for the same roles. But it's not about like direct competition with them. It's almost like more a competition with me, where I'm like, okay, what could I have done better? As opposed to like pushing someone else down. I'm like, how can I elevate myself? You know?
I think that's a great way of saying it. Also, I feel like my non-successes as I've gotten older, and tell me if this is true for you too in the industry, I feel like it's been a really good lesson in humility, because there's many times where I've seen another person who got the role, and I actually see the role and I'm like, they were so much better than me for that. Let's just be honest. They were so much better and they were right for the role, and I shouldn't have gotten it. And you know, it's good that I know, because I think it's a lesson in humility as an actor sometimes to be able to say that, you know what, you understand that person should have gotten it over you.
For sure. It grounds you too, right? It's not like I should have all the roles. When you see someone actually do a better job, you're like, okay, I can see that. Also, how can I get to that level? You know, you give them that respect, you give them that credit of like, they're clearly better as far as like, you know, whatever the part that they may have booked. How do I get there? You know, I think it's a matter of like humility, and also like teaching yourself as you go along, as opposed to being like, why did they get it and why didn't I get it? You know?
Oh, absolutely. And I think for when we're talking about the entertainment industry right now in general, but for other people that are in other types of lines of work, it's kind of the same thing too. It's just kind of learning why somebody might have gotten that promotion over you, and you know, why somebody gets a role in the industry over you. Another thing too, and I don't know if you're experiencing this too, for me it's learning is this industry, especially as a woman. I think that women have not as long of longevity unless you are able to, in this industry for roles, unless you're able to kind of transmogrify and change. And I think as we get older as women, it's learning how to still stay valid in this industry. I think men, a lot of times, you just, you know, mature and you can still play leading roles. Women, a lot of times, unfortunately, they just see you as getting older. So it's learning how to, do you know what I'm saying? Explain that and how you feel, because I feel like the same thing for me. It's like, I'm not going to go out for younger people roles anymore. It is a fact.
No.
And I have to accept with humility to pass the torch to somebody else who's younger to be able to do those roles. How do you feel?
100%. I feel like it's actually interesting. I think it's also like being Asian, sometimes we look younger, but when you're sitting in a room full of like younger people, you stand out like a sore thumb. And so actually the fact that I am getting older, I'm trying to gracefully embrace it. I'm trying to just, because it's also there is a niche for every group. There's a part for every group. And so if it's about like being in that older category, if you're starting to look older, then you will start to get cast for that as well. And so I'm not saying that I want to like look older right away, but I am slowly embracing it and accepting it and just enjoying actually aging and trying to enjoy it.
I think you look amazing, and I'm not just saying it. You look absolutely amazing. But I think you brought up a good point, and for actors that are out there, let us know your thoughts too. Leave a message in the chat. That it is interesting when you think you look young, but then you go into a waiting room for auditioning with people that are actually that age, and you look around and you're like, you know what? I really am not that young, but it's okay because you can play these other roles.
Yeah, and it could be something as simple as, it's not even necessarily like physically, it's something in the eyes where there's like wisdom. I don't know if you've noticed that or if you've experienced it, where like physically at first glance you look the same age as these younger people, but it's the way you carry yourself, it's something in the eyes. There's a little, maybe you could beat up a little more than these younger kids,
So what do you recommend then to actors? I think it's a really good question to be, I think every part of your life, every element of your life you bring into the scope of acting. So what would you recommend? What have you done in your life to enrich your life that you think you can bring these components into that room when you're in there for the 15 minutes?
Well, there's two things. First of all, I've had several friends that have asked if they could talk to me about acting, and they had no idea where to start. And one of the first things I always tell them is you have to have thick skin. If you're going to come down here and pursue a job like acting or something in the entertainment industry, you have to have thick skin, or you're in the wrong industry. I'm sure you get that. And then secondly, it's keep yourself busy. This is why I started my jewelry line as well, is because you can't sit here and just wait for your next role to come along. And I found myself doing that, and I found myself very like anxious, and I was like, there's something else. There are other things which will also make your acting more colorful when you bring life experiences to it. So I just started doing things and keeping myself busy and finding other passions other than just acting, because I love it, but at the same time it's such a competitive industry that if you are just sitting and waiting for your next job, it will drive you crazy. So those are like the two things that I really, and also agents, they take 10% for a reason. So 90% plus is like up to you to make things happen.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? Let's just talk about that. I want to talk about your jewelry line, but that you brought up such a good point. When you talk about, this is show business, right? We're talking about the business aspect of show business. You just said a really, really important thing. How proactive do you think an actor needs to be regarding their own career?
I mean, like I said, agents, managers, they take 10%, sometimes a little more, depending on your contract. But for me, I have always tried to get jobs not just from my agents. Like I'm submitting myself all day, every day for jobs. And, I've gotten to a point where my resume has built to the point where I don't take just any job, but I'm still submitting for interesting projects. Maybe they don't even pay as much, but if it's like a good project then the passion's there, and I'm going to submit myself and put my name in a hat for that.
Well, let's talk about that, because we always talk about, as actors, we talk about, everybody knows what the hustle is, that you've got to have your hustle on. And it's so important to be out there. How important do you think that networking is in this industry? Is it as important as going to the audition? And how do you network?
I think networking is important, but I'm very shy, as we spoke about earlier. And so it's not necessarily, I think it is really important, but it's not necessarily a route that I've always seen huge opportunities for me, because you want to come off authentic. And if I'm shy and I'm trying to like network with someone, it can come off a little awkward for me. So I will put myself into a situation where, I feel genuine about a connection point with someone and possibly working together in the future. But if you can be authentic about networking and get yourself into opportunities where it can help you, then I say go for it. I think it's extremely important. There's so many jobs where it's like, oh, my neighbor's cousin got cast because I know them, so it is very important. Just as far as me being shy, it's not always been great. It's not always been the way I've gone.
I think you brought up a really good point, because I think a lot of times our own personalities, as far as networking as actors, get in the way, right? Because I would rather honestly be home reading a book. And then friends have told me, no, you need to go do this because it's for your career. Don't think of it as fun, think of it as work. But if you're a person who would rather, be doing something else, sometimes it's hard. Also, don't you think that a really good audition a lot of times is so emotionally draining that the whole rest of the day, people don't realize how long it takes to get to an audition, do your hair, your makeup, or wardrobe, get there, park, find out where the audition is, get there, do this 3 pages of dialogue in front of how many people, and then come back. Explain how draining that can be. And then like 2 hours later, oh, you're supposed to go to an event?
Yeah, no, it's so, especially with the traffic in Los Angeles. I remember at one point I was calculating start to finish, like from when I got in the shower to get ready for my audition. And it was something like 7 hours, literally in the middle of rush hour traffic, getting there, waiting, practicing in your head. And then you go into the room and you have like, however many minutes to show your skill. And at that point, you're just like holding on to all this energy so that when you audition, you can kind of like let it flow out. And then after that, it's like, and then just sitting in your car in traffic on the way back, it takes a lot out of you. And the last thing you want to do is go to a party and like hang out with people at that point. You want to like go home, take your makeup off, get in sweats. I don't know about you. That's how I like to relax.
Oh, I know, me too. It's so funny. I think after a big audition, it's like all I want to go do is take off my makeup and take a shower and get into something comfortable and sit there and just go, oh, because people think actors don't do anything. I always say the job, for those of you who want to get into the industry, is the audition. The payoff and the thing that you get to do that you're so excited about is the actual job. It's the auditioning that is so exhausting, and every single day, actors pounding the pavement. And that's why it's really hard for people to have longevity in this industry, don't you think?
Yeah, no, I think a lot of it is like, you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like the auditioning is the job part, and there's so much rejection. I mean, unfortunately, I hate that word, but that's exactly what it is, because of maybe someone else was better for the job, or you just weren't right for the job, or they went into a different direction. But all the energy that you put into that's what's like. And then if you don't get the job, it's even that much more like detrimental to your like, oh, I put so much into it. But also I think for you as well, I'm sure I've gotten to a point where like I've been able to be like, okay, if I don't get the job, I just wasn't right for the role. It'll be the next one. It's gonna come. So you just keep doing it, knowing. And especially if you've worked and built a bit of a resume, you know that you're doing something right? Why would these people hire you if you had no idea what you were doing? So you're like on the right path, and you just have to know that this is kind of par for course. Like, you're not going to get every job. Maybe you will, but not me.
Well, that's the thing. Nobody's going to get every job,
Yeah.
And there was an audition the other day that I was going to go to, and I didn't, because it was like, something about having to know Shanghainese. I don't, and I know I don't, and I don't speak a Chinese, and so it's like I think somebody who is Chinese, of Chinese extraction, who speaks it and is bilingual, will probably get that job. For me to take the time to learn it phonetically, I've kind of learned now over the years. Some things are just, for me, it's better just to, focus on other stuff. Do you agree with that at this point in your career where you're kind of like picking and choosing?
Absolutely. I just turned down an audition the other day because, like you, I was supposed to speak Japanese. I'm not Japanese.
Right.
And like, I mean, I'm pretty good with languages, but to do like a whole entire several pages in Japanese, that's I'm not right for. I know I'm not right for the job, even though I'm like the ambitious part of me is like, go get it. You can't turn it down. But I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, let's be real. Like, I'm not right for this job. Why am I bending over backwards, putting so much energy into something that I know that probably am not right for A, and B, someone else better will get it.
And that's what I think. And also it's time, because an actor's time is so important. It's how much time are you going to learn Japanese for somebody else who is Japanese, who speaks Japanese fluent, to get that role. So you got, I start to think now I'm weighing things, whether, like you said, normally our thought is, oh, we've got to try it. We got to try, we got to go, feel guilty if you don't. And now it's like I'm weighing, this Shanghainese was literally written in the characters. I was like, I don't know what's going on. Somebody explain this to me. What am I doing here? So I shouldn't be here. This is like somebody else's alternate universe where Candace speaks Shanghainese. Yeah, so I was just like, it's not going to happen. And Johnny says, my family was Shanghainese. My brother learned Japanese from anime. His future career was in Japan. How interesting. Thank you so much, Johnny, for letting us know that. That's terrific. Now, Jija, you were just talking about a minute ago how, well, you're an actor, and sometimes it was hard. Where you're going to put this extra energy that you have and your extra creativity that you have when you weren't auditioning. So I want you to tell us all about, because I see you, I love it. Look at this beautiful jewelry that Gina is wearing, you guys. This is Gina's jewelry line. So I want you to tell us all about Gina Song Designs.
Okay, so this is like my love, my passion. It's a music-inspired jewelry company.
No way. Okay.
Yeah. First, let's start with my last name. It's Song. I didn't do it on purpose. And I love music. Who doesn't, right? And so I started making this jewelry line, and I realized that there is really, first of all, jewelry for me, I don't know about you, but it's a way to express yourself. And being an artist, being an actor, we always have to find different ways to express yourself. And I started years ago where I would like go shopping, because I love style, I love fashion. And I would see these pieces and I was like, I like this, but I wish it had a little something different. Or it would be cuter if it had this or that. And I had a friend that is a clothing designer that was like, let's go get you some pieces and you can just start making jewelry. And so I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So I went with her, and I realized I'm pretty good at designing. I had no intention of making a company out of it, but it was something as an actor where I'm like, okay, let's do something else other than just sit by the phone and wait for your agent to call for an audition. So I started designing, and I realized I'm pretty good at it. Still had no intention to sell, but I would wear my pieces like to auditions or just out, and people would stop me and be like, where did you get that piece? It's beautiful, blah, 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 blah. So I realized there's a business here, but I still didn't make this. I literally just launched May 7th, so just a couple months ago. I would just make it, and the more people stop me, the more I'm like, okay, I need to turn this into something. And I love it. It's become like my little baby.
Now, I don't understand. How did you learn that? But it's like you like jewelry, your friend helped you. How did you learn the technique of creating jewelry? It just is so amazing to me. I mean, did you find out, like, did you learn on YouTube? Did you get tools? Because I see these beautiful pieces that you're doing. Like, how did you figure all this out?
So I just started making, I don't even know how to explain it other than I would go into the store and I would see these pieces in my head, and I would, sometimes I would ask the store or the places that would sell the supply, like, okay, what do you need to do this? And they would help me along. But for the most part, something in me just like knew how to create these pieces. I can't explain it other than it was something within me that was like, I need to create this jewelry, and I need to be able to help other people express themselves through their style, because I think that's such a huge way that people express themselves.
And how did you understand? Like, I have no concept of this. I do not know what's going on when it comes to jewelry. I'm just going to be honest. But I love what you're wearing today. How do you know how to combine? Because it looks like it does kind of have this rock star flair to me. But it's like you're wearing a simple red shirt, which I love. But what makes everything stand out, honestly, is the way that you combine the jewelry together. Do you mind just pulling your hair back just a little bit so everybody can see your pieces? So I'm going to put you on full right now because I want to show you guys. Take a look at this. How do you know how to do that? Like it's designing the pieces, but you also know how to mix and match with balance. Can you explain these pieces to us? Tell us about each one of these pieces, because I've got you on
So-
real zoom right now so everybody can see.
Okay, so this one is, I don't know if you can see it. It's just very.
Oh, I
kind of
love it.
Yeah. I think my mixture, if I had to like use some adjectives to describe, it's a mixture of feminine, edgy, rock and roll, you know, sophisticated, and just the mixture of that I was not finding in the stores. Like this one, I don't know if you can tell. I'm gonna get really close to the camera. So.
Now, what is that? Oh, it's a bar, and it says rock and roll. Oh my gosh, with a lightning bolt on it.
Yeah. So these are all handmade, handcrafted. This one I did the engraving on my own. And
What's the one underneath it that looks like a ball?
say this again?
What's the one underneath that looks like a ball?
Oh, so this is just a cute little dainty. It's called a paperclip chain, and these are all like 18 karat gold plated. And you know, it's fun. It's actually this chain, but I doubled this chain up with the feather. And then this one is a lot of men wear this one, actually, and women. I've had a lot of men and women.
Oh, can you hold that one up? Wow. What is next to the feather?
It's like a dagger. It's like a
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
piece called cashmere. Thank you.
So you
Yeah,
can,
I mean, a lot of me just putting it together is sometimes I'll just, because for me it's like I'm the walking billboard for my company, so I'll just
yeah.
throw it on, and sometimes I'm like, okay, too much, so I'll take a couple pieces off, and it's just, it really is dependent on my mood. I mean, I don't know that I've worn this combination together before, but I'm wearing it now, and it's kind of just like, again, like an extension of my expression of how I'm feeling for the day.
So you can mix and match. Like if somebody is not as, rock and roll or whatever, you can just wear the one amulet, or you can wear one piece, you can wear two pieces. I love the way you layer, because a lot of times I've seen you and you layer, and I notice you always put them against kind of a simple backdrop, right? Like you have
That's
a red
the
shirt
key.
on.
Yes, absolutely. That's the key. So if you're gonna go crazy and just wear like a ton of like mixed metals and stuff,
Yeah.
you don't want it competing with like a busy background. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is essentially like the what's the word? The canvas.
The simple, the background.
Yeah, it's the canvas of what you're gonna put the jewelry on, and even like this piece, I was gonna maybe even put my hair up because it's like it's so simple.
Oh,
and
come
it's-
close so we can see. Oh, I love this. What is this? I love it.
Where is it?
I love it. No, can you describe that piece?
Yes, so let me just pull it off. And so this is actually one piece. I don't know if you can see it.
Oh, wow. It's so beautiful.
It's a little ball. It's super simple because I think that also my flair sometimes is a little too flary for people. So I need to give them options.
Of simple.
To, tone it down. Yeah, a lot of people are a lot more simple, where to me I'm like, more is more.
Uh-huh.
And a lot of people are like, less is more. So I give them options, and this is like kind of an everyday piece because it's like just a little stud, and if you want a little edge, it has a little chain. It's 18 karat gold plated, and yeah, I can wear it with like jeans. I can wear it with something a little dressier. I don't know if you can see it. I'm just kind of like putting like.
I love it. No, we can see it. And to me, it's like that is something that a lady could or a gentleman could wear to the office. It's something
Totally.
that's you can wear it a day and night. It's something that would transition well from day to night.
And I also understand, like, a lot of people are like your question of like, how do you layer? I've gone onto social media or wherever and just given them instructions, because I know that sometimes people need that guidance of like, I like this look, but I don't know how to execute it. And so I'll be like, okay, if you're, if it's too busy, then you want, like I was telling you, like you want to take the background, which is essentially the shirt you're going to wear, or how you're going to wear your hair, and tone it down a little bit.
Is that like just a shirt from H&M?
How did you know? Oh, no, actually, yeah, I think it's Zara. Yeah, it's just a regular t-shirt, and that's like my style is very kind of basic in a lot of ways, with just a little flair.
Because I was going to say, so you could wear a shirt like that from, you could even get a shirt like that on Amazon, a pair of jeans, and then that provides the backdrop for your jewelry. That's what I love so much about it. It's so distinctive. And also, like you said, it could be very simple for people who have simple tastes. And then it could be much more of a rock and roll, edgy look too, if you want that as well. Do you mainly do, if you were to break it down into like earrings, necklaces, bracelets, and rings, what do you think your jewelry line primarily focuses on?
So I do a ton, I do everything really. I do a ton of necklaces. I do bracelets. I make things and I don't always sell them either sometimes because I'm like, oh, no one's going to buy it. And then I'll sometimes put it up on my website and people will buy it. I'm like, oh, okay. So it's interesting because jewelry is so personal that you don't know what people are gonna buy. There's things that I didn't think people would buy and they're selling like hotcakes. But I just want to show this one to you really quickly.
Sure.
Way more simple. This is like the zodiac sign for
Cancer.
See this? Yeah.
Is it Cancer?
Yes, it's Cancer. And I don't know if you can see, there's colorful little rhinestones in it. And I like it because it's like, there's a little bit of color, but it's understated. You know?
How neat. How do you, I know this sounds like a silly question, but how do you design these pieces? Do you start out with a piece of pen to paper and then draw it out and then get it created and then, I don't even understand, like how do you create these pieces?
That's a great question because so for the most part, I don't draw it out, but I have drawn it out. I've literally woken up from sleeping and been like, I gotta design this, and I'll run into my space and just start making something. And it pops in my head. There's times that I make things, like I'm making a piece right now where I made it into a necklace and I didn't like it. So I kind of chopped it up and now I'm making it into a bracelet. Or I made a necklace and it was too long. So now I'm going to kind of adjust it and turn it into a choker. So there's so many different ways where I'll design something and sometimes I'll think it'll look good, but I'm like, oh, this is not exactly what I wanted. And so I'll shift. But for the most part, I have it in my head and I just kind of, it's interesting because it's like, also going back to acting, it's like you create something almost out of like an idea, and it's essentially the same thing for me with jewelry. It's like I'll have a vision of what I want, and most of the time it'll turn out the way I think, but a lot of times I'm like, oh, this is not exactly it, and so I'll create something different, totally different that I didn't think it would be.
So it was more like that was the inspiration, and one understands, they said LOL. I think that's really true too, is that you may start out with one idea and what you end up is different, but it actually could be better than the original genesis of the idea.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah, that's often in life, right?
That definitely. So what has the response been to your jewelry line, and when did you start doing this anyways, and what has the response been?
So when did I start, did you ask me?
Mm-hmm.
So I started probably about 10 years ago and just design. And again, going back to the Asian thing, my parents were like, you're not going to make a living out of it. Don't do it. And so I still, because I'm a good daughter. So I still designed, but I didn't turn it into a business. And people throughout the last 10 years would stop me when I'd wear my pieces. One guy actually offered a man, which I was like, oh my gosh, I love it because it's not just for men or not just for women. It's inclusive. Offered to buy it right off of me. And I was like, oh, okay. Yes, here, this is, you can take, like, so I've sold some pieces like right literally off of me.
Wow.
And yeah. And, but for the most part, I make a piece and it's like a prototype and I keep it for, so that I can make mass quantities for the people that want it.
Right. What is the bracelet that we see? There's a bracelet you have on.
Yes, this is, so I don't know if you've noticed, but herringbone. So this is.
Oh, can you hold it up?
Yes. Let me take it off.
Okay.
It's like a flat gold chain.
Okay, so that's a very basic chain.
It's a very basic chain, but it works because I'm also like, combining with all these other ones, right? So it kind of just lays.
It really does, because it adds an extra layer. Like it does look terrific as it is, but when you add that one chain in there, you guys, I don't know if you're saying, leave a comment or a question or suggest. See, look how that fleshes it out. I can't explain how, but it does.
It's almost like a supporting cast member.
What is the star? Is it the rock and roll would be the guest star?
Yeah,
That's the lead guy.
Yeah, rock and roll would be like the series regular, the reoccurring.
That, you know who that guy is? That's Brad Pitt.
Right.
And then
This
the
is,
one underneath it, that's like a supporting guy.
Yeah, all these are supporting. You gotta have like prominent pieces, and then a couple just kind of a little more toned down, which kind of helps it flow better.
Like a Joe Pesci or something.
Yeah.
And that's the leading lady. Who's that? Angelina Jolie?
Yeah. This is Angelina Jolie. This is actually called Layla. So.
Oh, I love that. So that would be, yeah.
Yeah, so the response I've had, can I just tell you, one of my biggest compliments is I had a client buy a piece from me, and she messaged me and said, you know, it's so weird because I was feeling kind of meh. I was feeling like not like my best self. You know, people go through that where they're just like, okay, I feel okay. Like I don't feel like, you know, hot or attractive or like at the top of my game, you know, physically. And she's like, I put your necklace on and I literally felt like it brightened my face and made me look prettier. And I was like,
oh,
exactly. Like I want my pieces to empower people and make them just feel better, you know, because when you start to feel better and act like you feel better, you start to feel better internally. And so I was just like floored, like, oh my gosh, that's exactly how I want my pieces to feel.
I totally, I get that too, because I think it just like, it elevates you. And it's not necessarily that it's all about the jewelry, but it's like you said, you want to make that entire person feel and look better, right?
Yeah, and it just adds a little flair. It just adds just a little flair. I mean, you could always use a little flair, right?
Oh, absolutely. We have a question from the chat. This is from One of One. I'm looking for a minimalist look. Do you have any suggestions?
I have a ton of minimal, like I said, it's for everyone. So I showed you the Zodiac one, and then there's like a little. This one is very minimal, but also just.
Oh, yeah, I love it. It's the an eyeball.
Yeah, it's called Evil Eye, but it's like a little sunburst. It's not overstated. There's a little tiny blue little crystal in there, and this chain, I don't know if you can tell, is very thin. So it's very minimal, but it's also like enough where you'll feel like it adds a little something to you. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
And it's definitely unique. And One of One might have just joined before you showed them the minimalist earrings. Can you, if I put you on Zoom, can you put them close up so people can see? Now, One of One, I love these because I think they're so delicate and they are so beautiful. I feel like for minimalists.
They're literally like everyday earrings. So you can, I'm gonna try to see if I can do this. The front of it is like this. So it's, but then the side, like this is all 18 karat gold plated, and then it's connected to the backing, so you won't lose it.
That's another good thing to think about, because a lot of times, you know, we're losing pieces of earrings all the time. This one you can't, because the back is connected to the front, and it's a beautiful, delicate chain. And what is that made out of?
It's 18 karat gold plated. And yeah, and I just like it because you can also like literally wear it during the day to the office, and then when you want to go out at night, pull your hair back.
Well, that's another thing too, is if, for example, you're going to the office and you don't have time to go home and change, and you just want to go out, you know, cocktails with friends or whatever, that jewelry really translates well, I think, between day and night. And also another good, tell me if this is a suggestion, you could use 1 or 2 pieces for day, and then if you don't have time to go home, just add, because like you have 4 necklaces on right now?
1, 2, yep.
But
4.
you can layer.
You can add, or you can take off if you're like, okay, it's a little too much for, you know, where I'm going. If you're going to like, you know, if you want to be a little more subdued, you can take all this off and just wear this, you know, just by itself.
Right.
And it makes enough of a statement where it'll just complement whatever you're wearing and complement you ultimately, because
Well, he said, this is so nice. One of one is looking for a nice anniversary gift for his girlfriend. Oh, that's awesome. And Gina is going to be dropping these soon on Amazon. Right now, you can just search her name, Gina, Jina, Song, Song. These are Gina Song designs, and you can get a hold of her that way now to be able to take a look at these pieces. I actually, one of one, I cannot share the link, but if you can look under Gina Song Designs, you'll be able to find it because it is going to drop on Amazon. But for right now, that's how you can find them. Is looking, and also Albert says, check out the bling. So that's very cool. So I love it. It is blinky, but that's why I think it has so much to do kind of like with rock star culture, rock star life, which I love. But also I think it's very sophisticated. Do you have any other pieces there that you wanted to show us? Because we would love to be able to see some more. And maybe something like this would be fun for a nice anniversary gift for one of one.
I don't. If they're looking for a little bit more of a subdued,
love it.
This is, and it's all like good quality 18 karat gold plated. This is just, it's a coin. It's very trendy, but this is what I mean by there's something for everyone, because this is something that I would wear, but it's not necessarily what someone's looking for. So then I have something like this, which is totally like a different feel. I have so many.
But you could combine that with what you're wearing,
combine it, yes. And I think I tried it at first, and then I was like, okay, it's too much bling, so I took it down. Here's another piece. This is I don't know if it's better if I put it on, but it's basically a little choker with a mother of pearl.
Oh, how beautiful!
Yeah. And then you just kind of toggle it through, it's basically looks like this, the toggle. I don't know if you can see it.
Right, but with the mother of pearl.
With the mother of pearl. So let me put it on. Let's just add more bling, right?
Oh, and that's what's so much fun is you can take pieces on, take pieces off, combine, add.
So like here is how this would lay. It's a little bit more of a choker, but I also do personalized custom. And I've had clients call me and say, or message me and say, hey, I have a thicker neck. Can you do it a couple inches longer? Or, hey, I love this, but I want a different type of pendant on here, and I source that. And
one of one says yes, comma, she loves chokers, exclamation point. So that's great.
Yeah.
He wants to know how much does this one retail?
This one? This one I actually have not even put up on the website yet. But
hey, one of one, if you contact Gina Son directly, this one's not even up yet. I usually wait to the end, but why don't we go ahead and talk about your social media and how people can follow you and contact you, because one of one girlfriend, like you said, that's not even on the market. So how would they do that?
So we have a social media account at Gina Song Designs. It's Jina, last name Song, Song Designs. And our website is linked there as well. But I also, I'm going to be dropping these. We take pre-orders as well. So I have a lot of people message me and say, how can I get this? And I'll, usually the pre-orders before they drop is not a problem at all. So it's available there. I have so many more. I don't know if you want me to just keep showing you.
Yes, we want to see more. So one of one, if you identify yourself as one of one to